Welcome to the Weekly Mug. Today we'll be having a conversation with the Catalan playwright, theater director and translator Marc Rosich, and we'll be listening to the latest album by Munar and the Miracle Band. And our reporter Hannah Becker has been out onto the streets to find the most appreciated and also the most irritating noises. This is the Weekly Mug, your TV show in English, hosted by Marcela Topor.
Hello and welcome. It's time to keep up your English with a show full of entertainment, culture and interesting discoveries, such as the words and facts brought today by our collaborators, Hannah Becker, Marius Serra and Ana Priscila Magrinha. Welcome all.
Hello.
Thank you for coming once again to our show. Okay, and let's start with Marius. Or as we said last week, our Indiana Jones of words. He's back with some more interesting information about English idioms. Marius, over to you.
This week we don't have Dr. Jones, but we'll have an apple. We'll have the moon.
Nice.
And a bee, or some bees, right?
Nice round things.
I can't say anything else, so let's wait for it.
Okay.
By now we've got our last enigma, and we had this guessword, a believer in the most British infusion. It was a 7-letter word. It's not easy, but we can have our audience thinking about it for some minutes.
Okay, if you want to know what or who this believer in the most British infusion is, please stay with us. And in the meantime, Hannah's been at it again. And by it, I mean challenging people in the streets to use their voices to do something other than talking, right, Hannah?
Yes.
Let's see. Let's see.
Okay, no, well, not singing.
Okay.
But yeah, I was focused on one of our 5 senses that we often don't think about. Noise, sound, right? Hearing.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I was trying to see what kind of sounds people liked, what sounds they don't like, and I got them to make them, which was the best part, as you'll see in the clip.
Oh, can you make any weird noises?
Oh, hello.
Mercadona, Mercadona. And it's a lot of you know, put your hands up. And I'm like, huh? It's just something I do. Oh my God, shut up!
Well, I thought that nothing could beat people doing karaoke. I just hope you don't make us make those noises, please, Hannah.
Yeah, well, maybe not those exact ones.
Oh, gosh.
But prepare your vocal cords. Oh, see, you're already ahead of the game.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you guys do some weird noises later. So.
Nice.
All right, well, and with
it,
that
yeah.
hanging over us, let's kick off with 5 incredible facts brought by Ana Priscila.
My friends, I hope you ate well today. I don't know if you're hungry or not right now.
Always hungry.
Well, then you might be hungrier after I explain you 5 things you didn't know about burgers. Who doesn't like burgers? Come on, please. Hamburgers?
burgers.
Yes.
That's okay. Yeah,
That's
I like
okay.
it.
Marius, that's okay. One of the best foods, finest foods ever?
Well,
Okay.
Okay,
Well, it
that's okay.
depends.
He's not convinced. I don't know.
You want me to change my segment today and talk about some of the food?
That's burgers, okay, with some calzots, maybe?
Okay, hamburger with calzone.
Why not?
Why not? Okay.
Catalan touch. Okay.
We're not gonna talk about calzots today. I'm sorry, Marius. We're gonna talk about hamburgers, and although the idea of patties made of mincemeat may date back to ancient Egypt, according to a Eurocentric view of history, minced beef originated in Europe around the 15th century. But let's not go that far away in time because we
Exactly.
don't have the whole day to.
We are younger.
We're younger
that.
than that,
Yeah, absolutely.
much younger than that. And let's focus on nowadays. Okay, fact number 1, the term hamburger, who could think about that? Comes from Hamburg, Germany's 2nd largest city. It can be quite obvious, but to tell you the truth, I had never thought about that before. I don't know about you guys. For sure, Marius has.
Oh, I thought it was from Frankfurt.
Oh, we begin with the jokes.
Okay, hamburger from Hamburg in Germany.
Makes
sense.
Makes sense.
In German,
Ham is a ham and Burg is
Burg is
like a city or town. or,
Neighborhood?
neighborhood,
yeah,
right?
it comes from like castle, fortified settlement, fortified refuge, Burg, the beginning of times. When immigrants from Germany came to America, they brought the popular Hamburg steak, which is minced beef combined with garlic, onions, salt, and pepper, and they formed it into patties, but there was no bread or bun at the time. Okay, that was the Hamburg steak.
Okay.
We have to go to the beginning of the 20th century, 1904. There was the St. Louis World's Fair, and in this fair, the hamburger became really, really popular. The New York Tribune referred to the hamburger as the innovation of a food vendor on the pike. The pike being the word for the place in the fair where all the food stalls were.
Right.
And from that moment on, the popularity of this food it increased year after year.
To the point where we could probably say, Hannah, that hamburgers are the American national dish, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's one of them. I think it's associated with America a lot, but I love that you're saying it's from immigrant background because so much of American food is immigrant food. So
Hamburger and I don't know, maybe spaghetti or something like
yeah.
pizza.
And
That's what I would
French,
think.
and French fries.
Yeah, and French fries. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, everything very American.
We do everything better. Sorry,
You improve
we take
them.
food from other places.
Everything is improved.
and add.
Let's take calçotes.
Yeah.
We would
improve
deep
it.
fry them.
Probably.
Dip them in like ketchup and whatever. Oh, it'd be amazing. Make them into nuggets or something. I don't know. American calzones.
I don't know, if I was to ask you guys which was the first burger fast food chain ever, what would you say?
McDonald's?
McDonald's, probably.
McDonald's?
Of course, not McDonald's, I suppose.
It's tricky.
That's why
it's a tricky
she's the
question.
presenter and you're not. Because
No, I
she's-
thought it was too easy, right?
It is too easy. It's not McDonald's. Fact number 2, the first fast food restaurant that sold burgers wasn't McDonald's or Burger King. I have to say there's some controversy in here. You know, everybody always wants to be the first. The first of the firsts. But most experts on this affair,
Hamburger experts.
burger experts,
Good job.
I would like that job.
agree that it was the opening of White Castle restaurant in Wichita, Kansas.
Yeah.
I don't know if you, Hannah, have you ever been in Wichita?
Why would I go there?
To visit
To eat
the
hamburgers.
to visit the first fast food restaurant.
They
eat
have
the
White
first
Castle in New York.
hamburgers.
It's fine.
Okay, you don't want to visit the first one, but that's okay. That's why chains are for. You can just go to
It's
your
the same
town.
everywhere. Perfect.
It was in 1921 that they opened the first fast food restaurant with burgers. There was just a little problem. Upton Sinclair had published The Jungle in 1906,
Yep.
and it was a novel that denounced all these restaurants, how they treated meat and the unsanitary conditions of these restaurants. So people were scared of eating meat in restaurants, and this White Castle restaurant, what they did is like, we have to make sure people know that everything is clean. So they had stainless steel interiors, and all the waiters and the waitresses were always with spotless uniforms. So people,
Did they wear masks as well?
I don't think at the time, they are wearing now for sure, I can tell you that. Despite this, McDonald's is actually the best known fast food chains with hamburgers around the world. Just to get an idea of how amazing they are at selling burgers. They sell 75 burgers per second worldwide.
Per second?
1 second now, they sold 75 burgers.
Okay.
Another one, 75 burgers. We
my
can
God.
count how many seconds these...
We are talking about McDonald's, right?
McDonald's, yeah.
That's
All right,
hamburgers.
what are other interesting facts about hamburgers?
Okay, let's go to fact number 3. people from the ethical treatment of animals, PETA, as we all know them.
Right.
It's you know that it's an organization of animal rights activists. Once tried to bribe a town in New York State called Hamburg to change its name. Talking about marketing people, you know, some of them get really crazy ideas. It was in 2003 where the organization offered to pay the city of Hamburg, as I said, in New York State, $15,000 for non-meat patties for school children if they change the name of the city to Veggieburg.
Veggieburg?
I thought Cabbageburg or Carrotburg.
Lettuceburg.
Lettuceburg.
Veggieburg is terrible.
Veggieburg is terrible.
It's a terrible name for a place.
It's really bad. Their main argument was that Hamburg conjures up images of dead cows. I don't know if when you
Dead cow?
hear about the word Hamburg, you think about dead cows, but well,
Not really.
it didn't
to be
succeed.
honest. Well,
Succeed Veggieburg.
God. Imagine someone in their passport, it's like place of birth, Veggieburg, New York. Ridiculous.
Veggie burger. I am a veggie burger.
Well, here we have
Okay.
Purrera.
Purrera.
There's a little town called La Pera here.
Ultramort.
Okay,
Ultramort.
exactly. Ultramort is my favorite one. Any other interesting facts
I don't know.
about hamburgers?
Do you like, guys, the smell of hamburgers? Yeah, Hannah? Yeah. I can see it in your face.
I'm hungry.
I don't know how much you like the smell, but maybe you're gonna be interested in fact number 4, because for a while you could buy a perfume with the smell of a Burger King.
A perfume?
Wow.
If you go on a date, don't use it. just
It would work on me.
It will work on you.
Oh, I would be like,
I am eatable.
yeah, right?
Okay, you're
put it
late
between my
because
buns and-
it was in 2008 when the fast food chain Burger King had this great idea to launch a limited edition cologne and deodorant spray with the smell of barbecued meat.
Deodorant
Yeah,
spray?
interesting.
Yeah. This amazing
No.
creation was called Flame by BK.
Oh.
And it was described by its creators as the scent of seduction with a hint of flame-broiled meat.
My God.
Well, the world is full of strange ideas, right?
Fact number 5, the largest burger ever cooked weighed 1,164 kilograms. Not just the person ate it.
All this space for a
Yeah,
burger.
for a burger.
How many McDonald's burgers is
Oh,
that?
I don't know.
How many seconds you need?
You probably think that this was an American thing, but I have to tell you, oh no, it happened in Germany, in the town of Pilsting in 2017. 300 people worked on it, and no food was wasted because they sold all they cut the huge burger in small pieces, and it all went, the money went for local charities. So a good
Excellent.
cause.
I wonder why they didn't do that with a big vegetable soup, for instance.
Well, that's a good question, and I think that's also a mystery which you will have to solve at home. But now, Marius, if you agree, we would really like to dive into the English language again for some idioms and see what you can tell us about them. And these are the ones we've selected for this week.
So one idiom I like, we also have it in German, it's called the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And I usually use it when people are comparing my mom to me and how similar we are.
My favorite idiom is once in a blue moon, and I really like it because I think it says something that's very common, that is once in a while, but it's a very poetic way of saying it, so I think it's very original.
My new favorite quote is, "That which isn't good for the hive isn't good for the bee." It's a quote by Marcus Aurelius, one of the Roman philosophers who wrote Meditations, basically. It just means we are all part of one, as a part of the community, and we all have to think more in common terms than have an individualistic sense of the world.
So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
That's a good one.
Yeah, this applies to our children, our daughters and sons when they are similar to their parents, right? But it comes from German. In fact,
Everything comes from Germany today.
everything. The apples
point,
coming
Hannah,
from
please,
Germany.
exactly,
The
yes.
burgers and the apples. But the first one who introduced it into English language was the American philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson. So from then on, it's usual in English as well. It made me think about another apple, not American apple, but European one, Newton's apple.
Yeah.
You know
Of course.
that famous Newton sitting beneath an apple tree and thinking about the apple pop falling down. This is very nice, maybe too nice to be true. Do you think it's really exactly like this?
I don't know. I mean, I think you have to do another segment on this, on gravity. 5 facts you didn't know about.
It could be. I don't know. It depends.
But Marius is right when their stories are so nice
Beautiful,
and beautiful.
So it's
something
more
is
like
not
a
true.
metaphor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but in this case, it's quite true. If we have to think about Newton, the own Newton wrote down in a letter, the notion of gravitation came into my mind, occasioned by the fall of an apple, as I sat in contemplative mood, right? Why should that apple always descend perpendicularly to the ground?
Think about that all the time.
Yeah, well, that's a question, but
Very
the
deep,
thing is the answer that he
The
gave
important
to
one.
us. But it seems to be. There are lots of apples in idioms. One of them, the Adam's apple.
Sure.
This one, which in Catalan is a walnut.
It's true,
it's
see.
not so big. Or a biggest one, the Big Apple, New York. New York City, there are different theories about that name. And
Yeah, I've
it's,
always wondered why it's
Why
called
an apple, right?
Yeah, exactly. The Big Apple, New York.
I've got 2 of them, and we'll ask Hannah, as a New Yorker or nearby, right, if
From the
she
Sleepy Hollow.
knows from Sleepy
From the
Hollow.
terrifying Sleepy Hollow.
The first one is that it derives from the translation by jazz musicians of an area or a farm called the Manzana area, right? It made sense because manzana in Spanish is apple in English,
Yeah.
right? And the second one, it was coined by, in the South, by the horse racing community, which is quite strange. But there's a journalist called John Fitzgerald in the 20s that take it back to and apply it to New York. What do you think about that?
I don't know, because horses eat apples? Like,
Yeah.
what?
No.
I don't really get it. Or, I don't know, horses usually have funny names, so maybe there was like a famous horse. I mean, yeah, I don't get this connection with horse racing and apples.
But it sounds like the first one could be the right one, since in Spanish, una manzana is,
Yeah, of course.
no?
Una
Yeah,
manzana
so it's like
is
a big
area.
Yeah.
right?
I always thought, I mean, there's a lot of like apple orchards in the state of New York, and so if like the rest of New York, it's like the little apples, then the city.
And from
is
then
the
on.
big apple.
Yeah, who knows?
That's my
It's
made up
possible. Okay.
version of.
What
facts.
about once in a full moon, Marius, or should we say blue moon?
Well, once in a full moon means that in a poetic way, once in a while. For instance, if someone asks you, how often do you have sex? And you say, once in a full moon.
Yeah.
Well, it's quite poetic, but well.
Depending on other cycles, you gotta be careful.
Yeah,
about.
but there's the variation that Marcella mentioned, once in a blue moon, is worst because it means that it's longer the time that you are practicing it, right? Or you can be over the moon.
Yeah.
So you are very happy, you're very nice because maybe it's today the day
That you're having sex.
So you are over the moon. This has been a part of the language from more than 1 century to be over the moon, but it seemed that it got famous or popular in the 70s of the last century. Maybe because the man in 1969 has been the first moon landing by Armstrong Aldrich. Maybe that made the moon
Makes sense.
more popular.
What about the last one? that which isn't good for the hive isn't good for the bee. That's a proverb more than an idiom, right?
It's a proverb. In fact, I searched for it. It's by Marcus Aurelius. It's quite deep. It reinforces the idea of community, as she explained very well. But bees are present in, for instance, a very nice idiom. The bee's knees. Have to say like this. Bee's knees, right? It means that something is of the highest quality. On the top, bees' knees. Maybe because bees carry pollen with the knees. In Catalan, we say when something is very, very good, mel. In Majorca especially.
Young people say mel all the time now.
Mel, now it's
mel.
Really?
Mel.
Yeah.
Honey.
I heard also canela fina, but I'm not sure how much it is used, if it's very common or not.
No, that's the equivalent in Spanish, canela fina.
Oh, that's from Spanish.
Yeah,
Okay,
because it would be canella in Catalan, but canela fina is the same idea. And in Valencia or in the south of Catalonia, meleta de romer.
Meleta de romero.
Which
que bonic.
which is in fact rosemary honey, a type of honey, but
yeah.
it's more special. Well,
That's
in
very
fact,
nice indeed.
yeah. Bees' knees, we have two, we found the origins in the Roaring 20s in America. It was a very special time, 1 century ago, and they coined lots of strange and surrealistic phrases to talk about top things. We saw one of them, pajamas cats.
Cat's pajamas.
Cat's pajamas, that's it. Which is like bee's knees or snake's hips.
Yeah.
Snake having hips. So, by the way, Marcella, I have to tell you that bee's knees is also the name of a very delicious cocktail.
Really?
It has gin and honey with lemon and orange juice.
It must be.
Meleta de
nice.
romero.
Meleta de romero.
Okay, and now it's time for Hannah's video. Looking forward to it. Last time you came, you made us sing, right? More precisely, you made Marius and Ana Priscilla sing.
Yeah,
Don't think I
One, two.
didn't notice, Marcella. I noticed.
And what about today?
Yeah, so today, no singing, unless you think that singing is noise, which maybe is why you didn't join us, Marcella. I was thinking more about the sounds of a city, the sounds of the street, and those kinds of things.
Okay, noises. So where did you go to look for noises?
Yeah, I thought the best option was to go to a bustling city hub, so I went right over to Badalona, which, bustling, right, loud, and got to talk to a lot of people about, some good noises, some
Did
bad
they make a
noises.
lot of noises?
Oh yeah, I found some noisy people in Badalona.
Okay, let's have a look.
Our world is full of sound. So I came here to Badalona where it's very quiet, as you can see. And I'm here to, talk to some people about, just noises that they like or that they don't like. Let's just go talk to some people. Let's go. What is your favorite sound in the world?
The life, all the life.
I love playing basketball.
Talk.
I love that too.
I really like jingles, even the Netflix noise. It's like dun dun, so ready for content.
The sound of Paco de Lucia and his guitar. So you have to do this.
I love my younger cat making chirpy noises.
Yeah. I mean, I work with kids, so I do this one a lot. I do tiny fart. Kids love it, man. I'm just looking for a laugh. I also like to do it with as if I'm robbing a bank. Yeah. They'll put your hands up, and I'm like, it's something I do.
Oh, hello. What?
I don't know if you could, but yeah, it's something. Yeah.
That looks
Weird.
painful.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling very well.
I'm a master sound imitator.
What the hell is that?
My boyfriend, he does play video games, and so sometimes I'll hear some very loud, he's on the roof!
He's on the roof! Get him! Chavi, Pooh! And insert a lot of Catalan names, you know. Arnau! Our neighbors probably hate us.
Yeah. Are you the noisiest in your family too?
No. My grandma.
Oh my God, shut up!
No one likes you, Train! You're too loud! What about a sound that you hate?
There's a lot of drilling happening, and not the good kind of drilling.
Even like people hitting, like, you know, the gas tank noise, that always kind of like freaks me out. I didn't know what that was when I first moved here.
My downstairs neighbor does a lot of like mantras and humming and things, and sometimes I can hear him, and it's a lot of hum. And then there's the upstairs neighbor. Sometimes she thinks she's Rosalia. She is not.
I think I'm the noisy neighbor, definitely. I'm just naturally loud, like I walk like I'm like a giant.
My house is haunted.
It's haunted!
Yeah.
Creepy noises, that, yeah.
Oh, can you make any weird noises?
It's ice cream. It's the word for ice cream, and it's nghețată. Weird enough. And I just tell people, just pretend somebody's punching you, and you just go,
It's like, I just want some ice cream!
That's Romanian.
Oof.
After a long day listening to people talk about sounds and noises, I just want to sit by the water, relax, and listen to some calming music. Now I feel like breaking something.
Very funny indeed.
Yeah, that was fun.
Lots of noises.
So I have a question for you, Marcella.
Yeah?
Do
Tell me.
all Romanians speak English that well?
Not all of them, of course, but most Romanians do speak good English.
And could you how do you say this word? Could you say
like the sound is the most difficult because it doesn't exist in Catalan, so it's înghețată. Can you say that?
Înghețată.
Oh, well done. Excellent, Marius.
Înghețată.
Well, you don't have a no, just normal.
Say that again.
Înghețată.
Înghețată?
Well done. Excellent.
Booyah!
Brilliant.
So what kinds of noises do you guys like or dislike? And can you make them for me?
Can you make them? I dislike lots of noises. Like, I have a coworker, I love you, Pau, that he's all day just...
Right.
While he's working,
He's
I hate
nervous,
that.
no?
It gets on my nerves. It's
The
like,
tappy.
stop
What
it.
about like a pen clicking?
Clicking pens, right?
Yeah.
At the blackbird, chalk, the blackbird.
Oh, horrible.
Yeah, something I do hate is the alarm clock in the morning.
Oh, for so
that's
many
awful.
reasons. Actually.
That's awful.
I use my phone as my alarm clock. So sometimes when I hear someone's phone go off and it's my alarm, like I have a flashback to the morning. Does that ever like I'm triggered. I'm like,
the
oh God.
same
you
sound.
the same
Yeah.
noise. Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's time to wake up, right?
Yeah. I'm like, it's the middle of the day, I'm fine.
And I hate the sound of some phones in the theater, for instance.
Well,
They always say the same, but sometimes there are
people that forget about it.
or maybe a sort of song like rhythm and blues. Ta-ta-ta-ta. And everybody
That brings
wanted
the
to
mood.
kill someone, right?
Well, the worst one, I think, is when you have neighbors. We were talking about sex once in a blue moon. If you have really active neighbors and they have like an old mattress or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're at home just watching TV.
Right.
Why? It should be me, that one, you know.
And you TV.
Like, I don't know if it's better to just hear the ee without any other sounds, or if you want to hear the whole show. I don't know.
I think I don't want to hear the whole show. No.
The creaky is.
It's not necessary. Exactly.
Can you guys make any weird noises? Like the guy doing it against his ear. I don't know. People can like make their armpits fart or like do like weird animal noises. Do you guys
That's
have
very
any?
strange.
The only thing I can do is bark.
Yeah, like
You can bark, really?
But like a small dog, just like me.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's really good.
That's brilliant.
Once I created a conversation with a dog because I would do that and the dog would answer me. It was not a really intelligent dog, but I had fun.
When my daughter was very a child, I used to have a sort of elephant noise like this, but I'm not trained by now. I don't know. No, I'm not trained, definitely. It sounded better. And I did all the movement as well, just to enjoy her.
Yeah. It's an easy audience.
She had fun. Okay.
She was, daddy.
What about you, Hannah? Any funny noises, curious noises?
I mean, I can make a pretty good like trumpet.
With
my mouth, like. It's hard with this lips.
A bit louder.
I need like wetter lips to do. It's hard with the makeup on from.
But that's the
camera.
trumpet
exactly.
every parent would like to have.
I don't know.
That's fine. Trumpet.
Early in the morning, that would be okay.
I have an idea. Why don't you do the three noises at the same time, like the dog, the elephant, and the trumpet?
Amazing.
Let's see.
Well, you can give us numbers.
We can be the noisy neighbor.
Why do you agree on
you
doing
can start?
it?
Because she's the
She's
chief.
the boss. She tells us what to do.
Well, just for fun, right?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Okay, so let's go. Okay, that was a great
I'm
ending.
gonna ask more money for this segment. I'm telling you.
Definitely.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Anyway, that was fun. Thank you so much. And now let's complete words and facts with our guest word, which Mario Serra brings us every week. And first, we go to the solution of last week's puzzle, which was a bit difficult, I must say, Marius.
It wasn't easy. It was, I must remind you, a believer in the most British infusion. It was 7 letters, and the answer was, any idea?
I mean, something to do with tea.
Yeah.
But I don't know
That's
what,
nice. That's a good idea. That's the end of the word.
Believer.
A believer. I can't. I don't know. I have no idea.
3, 2, 1. Devotee.
Devotee.
Devotee. Because
It wasn't easy.
no, but
How would you expect me to get to that word?
because you are not a devotee, but when someone is a believer, is a devotee. That's a synonym.
okay.
And
Devoted
tea.
to.
Devoted
that means
to tea.
devoted to
There
something.
are a lot of devotees to tea.
Yeah,
It's a lot of people's
Britain.
entire personality.
Yeah, and let's go to the new one, which is shorter, but I think it's easier as well.
Okay.
We'll see.
And look at me, because I would give a hint, right?
Okay.
The most explosive quantity of liquor. 4 letters. The most
I know this
explosive quantity of liquor. 4 letters.
Yes,
That's not tea.
indeed.
That's not tea.
No, it's something a bit stronger.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. There goes a short word for our puzzle lovers. If you crack the enigma, you can go online and post the solution on our social media profiles. We'll have the solution next Saturday, right? Well, until then, Marius, Hannah, Anna Priscilla, thank you so much for your words
Thank
and
you.
facts.
Okay,
See you
thank you.
soon. And our show is hardly started, and we have lots of surprises. For example, our recommended books and films, which you can borrow from the Xarxa, the Bibliotecas Municipales of the Diputació de Barcelona. And today, with a couple of words from Truman Capote and William Shakespeare, over to our librarian Salvador Faura and our cinema expert Miquel Lopez from Televisió de Badalona. Check it out.
Truman Capote once stated that Breakfast at Tiffany's was non-fiction, and that started some sort of a race to find out who the main character of that book was based on. I don't think that's important, to be honest, because the book is about somebody who abandons a parochial atmosphere to go to a vibrant city and have breakfast next to diamonds every morning. I think the book is about sophistication, ambition, and ego, and we all have a bit of that. Read Breakfast at Tiffany's, you'll enjoy it.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for what is considered to be the best adaptation of the best play by the best playwright ever. We are talking about Hamlet by William Shakespeare, directed and adapted by Laurence Olivier, who also plays the starring role. Although Olivier is always associated with Shakespeare, he only appeared in 3 film adaptations of the Bard's work, which were Henry V, Hamlet, and Richard III. It was the first British film to win an Oscar for the Best Picture and also a Golden Lion at the Venice Festival. Olivier also won an award for his performance in a movie that, if we have to be honest, was criticized by many Shakespearean purists for reducing the original text considerably. But it's a good movie, and as Shakespeare and Hamlet said, the rest is silence.
Today we'll be giving you 2 authors for the price of 1. We'll be talking about the very special English author Joe Wharton with his Catalan translator, the playwright Marc Rosich. Stay put!
Welcome back. When Sanita Lam started to live in a city, she missed the presence of nature in her life. And this is how her plant-sharing business called Planteca was born, a space to share for free, exchange, or shop for plants from your neighborhood plant lovers. Let's learn a bit more in the following portrait.
I'm Sanita Alam and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm from India. I come from a place called Kerala back in India. I have been here in Spain since 2 years now, but I was also here back in 2013, so altogether like 4 years. So the first time I came to Europe was to work in the UK, but my first European city that I visited was Barcelona, and I fell in love with Barcelona immediately. It was like love at first sight. At the moment, I am the founder of Planteca. Planteca is a unique space where you can buy, sell, or swap plants and plant propagations, and also knowledge about plants and gardening and anything related to sustainability. So it's a space for a community of plant lovers to come together. So Planteca is a combination of 2 words. So of course, plants, planta, plant. And eka in Sanskrit, it means one. The whole idea again is to bring together this unity within us and be connected through plants. Currently, we are a team of 3 people. I have a tech co-founder and a social media alchemist. So both of them joined in October last year. Well, it's a pretty new project. It's been only a year, and they have also come in quite recently. So we are quite a young team, but a very cohesive team, and quite super happy and proud to have them on board, because we all come with like a very common factor again, which is we have all been kind of uprooted from our homes and placed in different places around the world. So this is like one common factor that has brought us together. Plants have always been a part of my life, and whenever I went to any other place, this was the small part of home that I could always take with me to wherever I went. It really comes from my mom, actually. So she is a botany teacher back home in India, and I come from a place, as I said, I come from Kerala, which is full of nature, full of green. It's called God's own country because it's so full of green. This whole community of plant lovers has just been growing rapidly. Because more and more people feel the need to be connected with nature. And this is something that we see, especially when it happened during the pandemic. For us with Planteca, that one sense is plants and nature. The other thing about plants is like you are taking care of them by speaking to them or watering them, but in a way they are also kind of taking care of you. Right? So there is like a whole lot of mental and therapeutic aspect that plants bring into your life. So they say even like the soil, the bacteria in the soil they have some antidepressant microbes in the soil. So it's kind of very therapeutic if you take up gardening, and especially like in the kind of world that we are living in. So we are kind of doing a symbiotic living, taking care of each other, plants and humans.
are about to meet an award-winning playwright, theater director, journalist, translator, and, as he puts it himself, an accidental actor. Marc Rosich has just published Total Teatre, the Joe Orton, the complete work of a very important English playwright. He was a proletarian author who used scandal to criticize society and also described as Oscar Wilde's successor. So, Marc Rosich, it's a great pleasure to have you here today with us.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you for coming, and congratulations for the books, the complete works of Joe Orton. We have here the first volume and the second one, which hasn't been published yet. Actually, this month we'll see the second volume, right?
I have the volume at home, but it's not in the bookshop, so already
Right.
it will arrive in a week or so.
Okay, well, let's talk about Joe Orton. Really, really impressive character, very important in English literature. He was an eccentric playwright. His life ended tragically. Let's talk about him a little bit and why have you decided to focus on his work?
Well, it was a great surprise that the publishers, when they asked me to do the translation of all the plays by Orton, because it's one of my favorite playwrights ever. I remember discovering it 20 years ago with the volume of the complete works, going through the plays and in fact, I have just translated the plays using that book I bought 20 years ago.
Really?
So it was really a romantic thing. and for me, I was impressed by his humor, but his sarcasm, by his irony, by his fierceness in using comedy, because his tools are always comedy and things that may seem banal in a way, but he uses comedy as a weapon to destroy the morality of those years. He was homosexual, but he was in the closet at that moment, because you could go into prison in the 60s in the United Kingdom. And then his plays, they're in the border. He cannot say he's homosexual, but it's there, so it's latent. The power of his plays, it's there. When he uses comedy and he
this
makes
very sharp
this great
sarcasm,
adapter.
right?
Yeah.
Really sharp sarcasm. Yeah. Actually, his partner ended his life very tragically. He, in fact, he smashed his head with a hammer. And, well, ended his life, and the myth started, right? Joe Orton
this is
myth.
part of the legend, and we can always think what would have he had done if Kenneth Halliwell, his lover, wouldn't have smashed him.
Out of jealousy, right?
Yeah, out of jealousy, but jealousy not only in a romantic way, but in life too, because
professionally,
in fact,
right?
Yeah, Kenneth was his mentor. In fact, they started studying together theater, and Orton was the silly one, in fact, and Kenneth Halliwell was the Oscar Wilde one, and he knew the ways of the world, and he was very he knew a lot of literature, a lot of Shakespeare, and he sort of trained him. But the one who finally had the success was Joe Orton and not him. And he was really jealous of it. And at the same time, he was jealous of, in fact, Kenneth Halliwell taught him how to be a gay man in London, and he was very well taught.
Yes,
and then he went further than
he was a good student, right?
Yes, I think so.
And eventually he was described as the pop version of Oscar Wilde, or Oscar Wilde's successor.
Yeah, it's like the Oscar Wilde of the welfare state, they say. And it's because he uses the same tools that Oscar Wilde used when writing comedies, but then it's in the 60s with all this language, with a lot of things of the media, of the press. He the comedies with the words of the street. But with the same wittiness as Oscar Wilde, but using this real life language of the moment.
which ended up being described as Ortonesque. There is an adjective,
Yes.
Ortonesque,
Well, because
describing his style.
His style is too much. He's always, when I read his plays, I always end up laughing every 2 lines because he goes farther and farther and farther.
So it was
crossing
difficult.
borders.
It was difficult to translate Joe Orton.
It was really difficult because his work is really linguistic. A lot of expressions, aphorisms, like in Oscar Wilde, but with and he's breaking the language in the same way as Oscar Wilde did, and then it's difficult for a translator because it's not they're not normal conversations. They are always like what I said, aphorisms, and one of the difficult things was that the publishers, Prometeu, they decided to do this bilingual edition. This is why they are so thick. They are terribly thick. But it's because they have the English original, and then in the next page the Catalan translation. So for a translator, it's pretty difficult because you have the original there, and you must be really faithful.
And witty. Try to be as witty as him.
Yeah.
What do you think Joe Orton is not so popular outside Britain? Everybody has heard about Oscar Wilde, for example, but not so much about Joe Orton. Why do you think that is?
I wonder why too, because I'm a real fan. I would love to see his plays here. And in fact, I met the playwright seeing performances here in Catalan when I was young, entertaining Mr. Sloan, a fantastic production, and there was a fantastic production of Lute too. But they were produced like 30 years ago or so, but now it's not that famous. But well, I hope
hopefully
that now
this
with
will help.
this, because I think that they're perfect for the moment, because he's laughing at all the powers that be that control our lives, like
issues that are
police,
still valid today.
Yes, sure, I think so.
Okay, Marc, let's talk about your career. Let's talk about you a little bit. You started with journalism. You actually, I just found out that you studied journalism with Guillem Clua, who was also here on the show. So that's interesting. And you both ended up becoming playwrights.
And we didn't know
directors.
At that time when we were studying. We didn't know.
Interesting.
Well, both of us were our work. Most of it's devoted to LGBTQ subjects and being gay and
totally. Then while you studied journalism, then you started translating Tennessee Williams, and then you ended up writing your own play. So what is, how do you actually decide to become a playwright? What leads you towards that
I suppose
path?
I was doing amateur theater there in Xarxa with a group, and we were an amateur group that we were taking things seriously.
Yeah,
and, well,
pretty good.
And I think that was my real school. And then when I started doing playwriting courses in Sala Beckett, I discovered that I had a playwright in me, and it was because of these years. And at the same time, studying translation, I used to translate plays for my amateur group, like a little bit of Pinter, a little bit of Tennessee Williams, a little bit of Bernard Shaw, and we used to work David Mamet too, and we used to work with my translations. And when you translate plays, then it's like you're learning the rules inside the plays, and then I ended up having learned all these tools.
And you are now an award-winning author. How would you describe your style as a playwright?
Well, in fact, now after translating Joe Orton, all the plays, I've discovered that there's something I really relate to Orton in a mixture between using comedy to do political theater in a way. You know? But at the same time, I'm a schizophrenic creator in a way, because I'm doing too many things, I think. I'm writing librettos for opera and directing opera. I'm doing musicals for children. I'm doing proper musicals or text, plays, text with text. I can do commercial, but I can do like post-dramatic too, if I know. And my career is pretty you're pretty
you
stressed because of this.
Well, actually, this was one of my questions. Given that you're doing so many things and so different, you're doing musicals, you're doing family theater such as Renado, Libro de las Bestias, or one of the latest ones such as Ocaña, Reina de las Ramblas, which we are going to talk about a little bit later. When is it that you decide to include music in your shows?
Well,
music and dance.
Well,
because I'm also referring to a show, a very famous one that you did with Clara Peya, Limbo, which was extraordinary.
I don't know. I suppose it's I was like 10 years in my life working with Calixto Vieto, the director, and he's an opera director right now. And when I work as a playwright with him, I used to do the dramaturgies of the text, and we always were working with musicians, with Maika Makowski or Carlos Santos or any kind, and working with opera singers, pop singers, and I suppose I was there because I had it in me, but this work with Calixto had an influence in me for sure. And then I ended up always when they sing to me, I work. I really love working with people singing next to me. I suppose it's that.
And
now I ended up working with opera singers. Or every time I imagine a new play, it's with music, or even when they are only text plays. Like I did one play in the National with Mercè Arànega years ago. It was called A tots els que heu vingut. It was about this old lady who was like stressed after all the Pujol scandal, and we were using music by Núria Feliu. All these songs by Núria Feliu and all this, no? And every new play, there's always music. Or I try to now the 3 projects I'm on, the 3 of them, I'm working with musicians.
Okay. When you're saying 3 projects, you are talking about? You're talking about
Ocaña, Reina de las Ramblas. It was for 3 weeks in Scenari Brossa, and it's a show devoted to this icon Ocaña, and it's with the music we're using is coplas. And I've just premiered The Tempest by Shakespeare with this company, Parking Shakespeare. You told me Pep, the boss of the company, was here
Parking Shakespeare Company.
Yeah, and we've done a musical of it with all the songs sung by this character Ariel. We've written new music for these songs. And
the third one?
And I've just premiered this play with Maria Bayo, this famous soprano. It's called Divina Cleopatra, and everything has been in 3 weeks, so I don't understand that I'm alive right now after all this stress.
But you're doing pretty well, I must say. And well, Ocaña, Reina de las Ramblas, a very iconic character in Barcelona, like you said, is certainly one of your most relevant and awarded works. And we'll talk about it right away. But first, let's go to a short language tip. So, are you into crime TV series? Then you'll probably be interested in our next tip with Marc Rosich.
Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about vocabulary related to criminals, and to be more specific, thieves. Now we all know that thieves don't always steal money in the same ways, so I'm going to explain some different ways that they can steal money from you. Let's start with the first one, a burglar. A burglar, of course, is somebody who breaks into somebody's home and steals something from their home. So they actually have to forcibly open the window or the door. So remember, if you arrive home and you see your window has been forced open, you have been burgled. Next one we have is a pickpocket. Now a pickpocket, of course, is slightly different, and from the name you can imagine what this person does. They literally steal from your bag or from your back pocket. Generally, they would take something like your wallet, your mobile phone, your keys, etc. Moving on, then we have the shoplifters. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that they come along and literally lift up the shop, but you get the idea that this is a person who comes into a shop as a customer and lifts products from the shelves, a shoplifter. Then we have the most dangerous and violent version of all of these criminals, which is the mugger. A mugger is a person who is physically violent or aggressive, maybe uses a knife or a gun in order to take money or something from somebody on the street. So whether it's a burglar, a pickpocket, a shoplifter, or a mugger, be careful. And join me for the next round because we're going to talk about a different type of criminals, the crooks.
And after this interview, stick around for the latest album by Stephen Munar and the Miracle Band in a moment on the Weekly Mag.
Welcome back, and joining us in this conversation with the playwright, theatre director and translator Marc Rosich is our collaborator from Televisió de Girona, Georgina Arnau. Hello Georgina, welcome back.
Hello Marcella, hello Marc, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Georgina, I know you've done some research about Marc Rosich here, so tell us, what would you like to highlight about him?
Okay, so let me tell you what the names of Joe Warden, Oscar Wilde, Ocaña, and of course our guest today, Marc Rosich, have in common, because they are people who want to break stereotypes. Actually, some more voluntarily than others, but it's clear that they have become a benchmark when it comes to the representation of collectives which are traditionally relegated to invisibility. And why am I mentioning this? Well, because Ocaña, Reina de las Ramblas, a small form musical based on one of the icons of the Barcelona of the transition, has won 2 Critic Awards, 2 Barcelona Theatre Awards, and 3 nominations for your production company, Òpera de Butxaca i Nova Creació. First of all, congratulations, and how do you feel about that?
So we're really happy about these awards because, but it's pretty weird at the same time because it's as if we've been premiering the piece for 1.5 years because we had a first presentation of three performances in Sala Beckett 1.5 years ago, and this is where the critics saw it and they loved it, and this is why they gave us the award. But then we had a proper season of 5 weeks in last March that it wasn't done because of the COVID crisis. And we've been postponing the premiere, and finally we just had a 3-week season, a proper season to show the show to the city.
It was in Espairosa.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So you've been dealing with transgender issues and LGBTQ previously, but in the play of Limbo, for example, you have talked with Marcella.
Clara Peya.
Sure, yeah. Today I want to talk.
Sisters.
Yeah, and Ariana and Clara Peya both. Yeah, they are really great. So today I want to talk about some personalities who have become icons of this transgender rights struggle, and of course LGBTQ. So like José Pérez Ocaña. We have been talking about him. So
he was quite a character, right?
Yeah, sure. He was an Andalusian painter known for his performances as a transvestite on the Ramblas de Barcelona. So he was actively promoting the rights of the LGBTIQ community. He lived humbly and working as a decorative painter here in the city, in Barcelona. And he used it to cross-dress during the day with a mixture. He was like a mixture of Andalusian flair and also religiosity.
I would have loved actually to see him.
Yeah, there's a documentary film directed by Ventura Pons in 1978. So at home, if people want to know more about him, they can watch it. He called it Ocaña Retrato Intermitente. And also there are poems, music, and of course, Marc, you wrote a play called Copy Ocaña al Purgatori. Okay, so this leads me to ask you, why did you decide to bring Ocaña again alive, again to the stage? What happened?
Well, in fact, I met Ocaña by chance because 15 years ago in Tarantana Theatre, they made me a commission that they wanted to play where Ocaña appeared in it. And I did it, and then this is how I met the character. I had seen the Ventura Pons film before, but it's where I started working in it. But now, after 15 years, we had a commission by this theater in Berlin, the Neuköllner Oper, that they're devoted to a music theater, but music not like musicals, but music theater in all, from opera to new productions with music, whatever. And they asked me to do a new show with the Spanish repertoire. They wanted me to do a zarzuela or something like that. I said, I don't want to do a zarzuela in Berlin. I don't know. But I said to them, maybe we can do a show with coplas. That's the music I really love, and I used to sing when I was a kid. Well, and we can do a show with coplas, and that we can use it to make an homage to Ocaña. And they loved the idea. They didn't know the character, but they agreed to do a show. And I wrote the play, and it was translated into German. The coplas were translated into German too. It was pretty weird, but it was really in a small house there in this theater, pretty cozy. And we had like 2 seasons of this show there. We came back to Barcelona and said, well, we've written this show. Maybe it might have a chance here in Barcelona. And then we thought that it was a job for Joan Vázquez, our performer, that his specialty is coplas, and he's a great actor.
Brilliant indeed.
Well, actually, we have been talking about Ocaña, of course, but now let's look at another character similar to him, because we have to travel back in the time to the early 20th century to meet Lily Elf. I don't know if you know her. Her birth name was Einar Mogens Wagner. I'm sorry for my my accent. He was a highly successful artist who once posed in a woman's clothing for his wife Gerda Wagner, and she was an illustrator. Well, since then he changed and realized that he was a she. A woman trapped in a male body. Okay, so she was the first person who underwent a surgical castration. Well, she died at the age of 49 when she wanted to implant a uterus to be able to have children. Well, so in 2015, I don't know if you have watched the film, but The Danish Girl was a film based on her story. So do you think that in this kind of productions like Hollywood productions, the story and the characters are like whitewashed, and the audience, so that the audience give it like better reception? What do you think?
Well, it's when you do a fiction, you must shape it in a way, and sometimes, you have this commercial production. Maybe it goes to places where are not that close to reality, in a way, to make it more understandable, maybe.
And maybe attractive, more attractive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it happens. I mean,
and we have more examples.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe?
We have more examples. Actually, we can go back to Spain. We can talk about La Veneno. I'm sure you know her.
Of course, La Veneno.
Well, for those who do not know her, Cristina Ortiz was a Spanish singer, actress, sex worker, and a media personality. She was considered one of the most important beloved LGBTI icons in our country. Well, in 2016, she published her story in a book, after which she received death threats because she included names of some of her most famous and influential clients here in Spain, in our country. And you may know her because Javier Ambrosi and Javier Calvo, Los Javis, known as Los Javis, have wanted to pay tribute to her figure in their latest work as La Veneno in a TV series. It
quite
was a TV
popular,
series.
actually.
Yeah. So, who do you think trans performance in the world of film and, of course, in theater could be improved? Do you think that what they do, the Javis have done with this character, La Veneno, by choosing, for example, a real transgender actors, it would be just a first step, a good first step?
Well, this is a great step because we're used to see portraits of trans characters done by people who's not trans. But at the same time, I think that it's trans people can they must be on stage or on film, and we must make the strategy go further so that they can act.
When we are talking about rights, let's talk about rights. Trans people's rights. What's the situation here in Catalonia and Spain? What do you think, Marc?
Well, now we have this new this new law that it's got a lot of criticism, but well, we've done it. It's there. So and it's really important the stage we are in, that there's a law that takes care of their rights. Okay. And there's a lot of criticism there and a lot of noise, but I think it's only noise.
Right. Okay. Well. I'm afraid we don't have too much time left, but we can't go before talking about this book that you have here. So, Georgina, I know you're a fan, so let's show it to the camera. It's Teatre Trans y altres textos no normatius by Marc Rosich, of course. So, Georgina, I think you read the book. What do you think?
Well, actually, for people at home to know a little bit about this book, it's a collection of works that are dedicated to trans and queer theater. They bring, we can say it like that, the bodies and gender identities onto the stage, which are outside, we could say, like the norm or mainstream. So, how do you tackle the subject? Do you censor your text so as not to make the audience uncomfortable, or not? Do you set boundaries to yourself?
I don't ask myself all these things. I only write, or you know, you hear voices, the voices of a character. Then it's pretty weird, but it's what it is. I feel that I listen to voices that they need to be written. And that's what happens to me. Okay. And in fact, for example, in the case of this collection of plays, it's a subject that came to me. I wasn't looking for. I never woke up one day and said, I will do some plays about trans or about trans subjects or LGBTQ. No, it's there, and I ended up like, people was coming to me like the Paya Sisters and the Paya Sisters, in English, it's pretty weird. Well, like they came to me and they said to me, we want to do a show about this friend of ours who's trans, and then, okay, we started working on it, and then Roberto G. Alonso, a choreographer, used to work with him. He came to me and he said to me, I want to do a show about trans men, trans women in that case. And then I ended up having some plays that were about
A mí no me escribió Tennessee Williams?
Yeah, and Tritons y Sirenas, that's the other small, In fact, A mí no me escribió Tennessee Williams is a pretty weird show because I think the character is trans. But we discovered it in the process. Roberto, he's playing a mature woman, but we don't know if she's a woman or no. We know she's a woman, but it's played by an actor. So there are some things that make you make some questions about his identity, and then we can think that it's a trans play in a way.
Pretty amazing, right? Well, but anyway, we are reaching the end of this conversation. That means it's time for the question chain, a surprise question for you, Marc, from our previous guests, in this case, Marichel and Eduard, who came here at the Weekly Mag to talk about taking a year off, a gap year. So let's check it out.
Hello, I'm Marichel Morera, and I'm an educational consultant. I took a gap year many years ago.
I'm Eduard Tetilla, I'm from Girona, and I work in a hospitality industry, and I also took a gap year in New York.
And we have a question for you. If you were able to take a gap year, will you do it?
If you do, where would you go?
Oh, that's what I need. That's what I need with all the stress I have.
We do, exactly.
No, in fact, it's really what I would need. But it's with my schedule, with all my premieres, and it's been, for example, my husband, he's been living for 5 years in Chicago, and I couldn't only be there for like 4 weeks. The first year he was there, so imagine. And I would love to have a gap year there in Chicago.
So how you deal with the long distance relationship? Is it hard?
Well, it's hard. It's hard, but well.
But you're still here.
Yeah.
Exactly. Maybe you're planning to take a year off and go to Cambridge?
Maybe. Maybe. I think now my husband, he will go there. I think it will be really nice to be there. He working, not me. Then, well, I can go there to write a new play.
Why not? To write a new play, that's an interesting thing, because I was just going to ask you if you're planning to write something new. So.
Well, yes, I have plans, but now I direct, so at the same time, it's like you must, well, sometimes I'm writing and sometimes I'm directing, and now I have a lot of shows postponed because of the COVID crisis. And so my next project is not writing, but the premiere at last of a project we were supposed to premiere in Gran Teatro del Liceu last November. We could only do a streaming of it. It's 6 monodramas, 6 small operas composed by 6 different composers and 6 different playwrights. And it will be done again in May, we hope.
In May, hopefully.
Well, but it's well, for us,
sounds like
people,
really,
it's really mad because everything is postponed or cancelled.
This sounds like a really ambitious project.
Oh,
right?
Yes, it is.
A play on at the Liceu, an opera. Amazing.
Yeah,
well,
there are small, small pieces in different spaces inside the theater, in the foyer, in backstage.
So using.
Some of the pictures that we were showing, they were of this project.
Okay, well, definitely come and see it. Marc Rosich, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. We're so happy to know more about the work and life of Joe Orton, thanks to you, and looking forward to read the second volume. Thank you so much, Marc.
Thank you.
And thank you, Georgina. Until next time. Bye.
Thank you, Marcella.
The Anglo-Majorcan musician and composer Stephen Munar is visiting us to present his new album, The Fish and the Net, a work full of energy and highly critical of the times we are living in. This is the second time he's come on our show, but this time he's coming with his own group, the Miracle Band. Well, Stephen Munar, thank you for coming. It's a pleasure to have you here with us again.
Happy to be back.
And congratulations for your new album, which we have here, The Fish and the Net. Brilliant piece of work. Tell us why this name in the first place.
Well, it all came when we wrote, or when I wrote one of the songs, which is called The Fish Caught in the Net They Drown, which is a kind of a metaphorical song. And I thought that the title, The Fish and the Net, really expresses a bit the times we are living, no? The net could be also the internet, and the fish could be the people we're in. So that's a bit of the metaphorical thing, and also it's open to different points of views.
Okay, a bit trapped. Are we a bit trapped in this net?
Totally. We are totally ill. We are drowning in the net, no? So that's the reason why I thought it was a good title, The Sign of the Times.
Yes, indeed. Do you think, Stephen, that this is your ultimate album after almost 30 years of career, of musical career? Some critics say that this is your best album and your ultimate work. What do you think?
Well, I am very proud of the album. I think it's a very good one. We are very happy with the result. But to be honest, I'm happy with all the albums that I've made or I've recorded during all my career. You know, every album has its moment. Now it's the moment of The Fish and the Net. Okay. And so I'm happy with all this the critical thing.
This is your album number 6 with the Miracle Band.
It is.
And they are all here today. Tell us a little bit about them. I know you work great together.
Yeah.
You make a great team. Who are they?
Okay, so we've got Patricia Serrano, who is the lead guitarist, and we've been playing together for about 5 years. She also plays with many other bands in Barcelona, and we are very close friends. And also Sergio Mesa, who is the bass player. We also have a very good and close relationship. And today it's Andreu Giró, who's going to be, it's going to be the first time he's going to play with us. So.
A bit
exciting.
of stress, yeah?
I don't know, I haven't spoken to him yet, but I don't know about it.
We'll see that in a moment.
Yes.
Well, Stephen, this album is full of energy, of optimism, of good vibes. You actually wrote it before the COVID crisis, before the pandemic began. Do you think now it is a good time to listen to this kind of music?
Yeah, why not? And, you know, I think we need some positive vibes and good energy, and I think this album is the right one, of course.
Right. Also, I wanted to mention the cover, which is really great. It's a really beautiful image here. It is designed by Oscar San Martin. What does it represent? Is it what you told me before about we being all trapped in this net?
Well, I met Oscar San Martin many years ago when I had a previous band called the Tea Servants, because he was the designer of the covers of El Niño Gusano, which was a quite important independent band at the time, and he started doing his work there. I lost track, but you know, after we got in touch again, I explained him the meaning of the title. I also sent him the lyrics, and we had long and deep conversations. So I think it illustrates really well the meaning of all.
This album also comes in an important moment in your life, right? At a personal level.
It does.
Yeah.
Yes, 2 years ago I had a very important change, and I think all the songs reflect all this, you know, this positive vibe, this, you know, willing to live.
But the album also deals with some political and social issues. Do you think that musicians and artists in general should use their voice to take a stand?
Well, I think musicians should give their point of view, but, you know, I am not focusing this on one way or the other, or lefty or right on one way or the other. I just criticize or picture a bit the global thing.
The global thing, and also I read that you said a couple of times in interviews, that you consider that Western democracy is a joke.
It is.
Why do you think?
I think we live in a fake democracy. We live in a totally fake society in this way. You know, they manipulate us continuously so they can lead us to what they wish and want. I think there is no doubt with this.
That's why you decided to take a step forward and concentrate on other things, right? On spirituality, on love, on positive vibes, right?
True. Sometimes it's very difficult to get rid of all this atmosphere, you know, especially in the place where we live. But yeah, I do focus my mind on other things, music
And talking about music and your musical preferences, let's mention a few talking heads: David Bowie, Iggy Pop. How have they and how much have they influenced you?
Well, it's all these people. I knew them when I was, you know, I met them when I was very young. I started listening to them very young. And, you know, it's the kind of people, they come and go. You forget them for a while, and then they come back. So they're always there, you know, them and many others, you know, depending on the time you're living.
What about religion? Are you still a religious person, a spiritual person, or things that happened lately have made you lose your faith in a way?
No, I'm totally a believer. I've been a believer since I was 28. And, you know, of course, things change. You go this way or the other way. But it's something important for me in the way I face, you know, my everyday, my life.
Okay. Anything else you would like to add before we go?
No, I'm very happy to be back and logging to play the song for you.
Okay, what song are you going to play?
We have chosen to play Peach which is one of the most poppy songs of the album. I think it's a very happy song.
About?
It's about love. The lyrics really are very casual, they're not really deep, but I think it's, you know, it's joyful.
Great, brilliant. Well, Stephen Munar, it's been great having you with us today in this show. Thank you so much and good luck with all your projects.
Thanks very much to you.
And after the music, don't miss Guess What? Our TV quiz, which today is inspired in the International Women's Day.
Yeah, the lesson will be love, oh Lord. If I wait too long, I'll just die bored. Hey, the summer is coming and I feel good. I lay in the sun and dream about my childhood. And I want you back. Baby, won't you please come home? Our love is a gift and it's growing strong. Yes, it is. Surrounded by lemon trees with you. Such a Mediterranean scene is true. The sun is shining and I feel good. We'll dive in the sea and dream with tangerine trees. And I want you back. Baby, won't you please come home? Our love is a gift and it's growing strong. Yes, it is. And music is what keeps us alive. Let's be kind and have fun. I'll find the perfect rhyme somewhere else. You and I. Yeah, music is what keeps us alive. Let's be kind and have fun. I'll find the perfect rhyme somewhere else.
We are back and ready for a game. It's time to play with our quizmaster, Sergi Cervera. Hello, Sergi.
Hello! Hello, everybody. Hi, and welcome to Guess What? The TV quiz with unexpected questions for well-prepared contestants, or so I hope.
Well, don't worry about that. Sergi, today we have with us Cela Falgueras, Radio Televisión de Cardedeu collaborator and also a contributor of our show who knows what it's like to play with us. Hello, Cela.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Tell us all about your TV show.
Yes, Operación Paqui is a TV show, a talent show for young people, 13 to 20, that was started during lockdown. It was an idea of a youth club we have in Cardedeu, which is called Paqui, La Paqui, and hence the name Operación Paqui. And so we did a casting online because we were in lockdown, and we had over 33 applicants. So we went to shortlist them to 12. We had a final casting live show. That was in summer. And then in October, November, we started 4 live shows where we ended up having an extraordinary winner. So I'm not going to spoil who the winner is. You just need to watch our YouTube channel.
Such a pity I didn't know on time about this audition.
Yeah, it was incredibly successful.
Self-submitted.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, and next to Shella, we have Patricia Scalona and Dr. Murtha, which sounds like a ventriloquist act, but those are the names of our 2 quiz masterminds. So what's up, guys?
Hi.
Hi.
Here again.
Sounds like a threat.
Yeah. You better watch out.
Patricia, if we're going to be a ventriloquist act, who's going to be the dummy?
I think that's that question
Okay, it's me. Never
I'm
mind.
gonna
Sorry.
pause here and let's break the ice with our first round. Since in 2 days it is going to be the International Women's Day, we're dedicating the whole of today's Guess What to women and feminism. And we will start off with the endearing challenge we call What are they talking about?
Exactly. Well, should we say who are they talking about? Because we're going to show you some videos in every one of which different witnesses will be talking about very influential women. You just have to guess and write down who they are talking about on your blackboard.
Okay.
And remember, you will get 1 point for every right answer. Let's watch the first video.
A very powerful woman.
Very smart. She's a politician. She's very sharp. She's half Asian, half black. She's a groundbreaking person that is shattering glass ceilings. And yeah, I think she's going to do great things for America.
Okay, so who do you think she is? Write your answers on your blackboards and get ready to show them to me. 3, 2, 1, here we go! Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
guess what?
Of course, the correct answer is Kamala Harris, so well done.
Absolutely.
All of you.
All of you,
Perfect.
congratulations. And now
Okay.
for the second and mysterious influential woman.
She was a black woman, pioneer in the fight for justice in the US.
She decided to don't follow a rule that wasn't agreed for her.
Her bravery that broke the law by just being herself in a public space. She tried to stop the discrimination from black people in America having to stand on a bus if a white person wanted the seat. So she refused to give up her seat to a white person.
All right, you guys have your picks ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, show them to me. Rosa Parks,
Wow.
Rosa Parks, and Rosa Parks.
Amazing. Rosa Parks it is.
Congratulations, you all.
Excellent.
Let's watch our third influential woman. Check it out.
She was a singer, an opera singer.
She spoke many languages. I think it was 5 or 7 languages or something. I think she died recently. I don't know if in a year or 2 years ago. A great woman with a great, great voice. She was performing in the 1992 Olympic Games in Barcelona. She was Catalan. She worked with Freddie Mercury and sang the Barcelona song in this beautiful city.
Get ready to show us your answers. 3, 2, 1. Show them to me. Don't look mad. Okay. Whitney Houston, Montserrat Caballé, and Montserrat Caballé. And guess what? There is somebody who didn't get the points.
You just couldn't help it, eh?
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't know that lady.
Yeah.
I'm not big into opera. I know it's a
She
surprise.
just sang with Freddie Mercury.
Right.
Come on, doctor.
Okay.
She just did.
No, well, probably. We haven't heard
That
of.
would have been important.
Right?
She just sang with
It's probably happening right now.
So
in
what
heaven.
piece of information was the giveaway?
In my case was Freddie Mercury, because at the beginning I was thinking about Kirite Kanawa, which is a great
But she
opera
hasn't died.
singer. Well, but then at the beginning I thought the
Breaking
great
news.
singer, many languages, it had to be her.
But then yeah.
Okay.
I don't think
Right.
Tekanawa is dead, is she?
All right, so let's continue with the fourth video.
Absolutely.
She is the daughter of a very famous opera singer in my country.
Is an amazing young woman.
She's just turned 18 years old.
She decided to not go at school to give a strong message.
She traveled all over the world.
Spreading the message of the climate change. An eco-warrior.
All right, get ready to write it down if you can. Just saying that. So, okay, you guys ready? 3, I'm scared, I'm really scared. 2, 1, here we go. Greta Thunberg,
Wow,
Greta
amazing.
Thunberg, and Greta Thunberg.
Amazing. Excellent.
Which means you all won, absolutely. Congratulations. And well written, by the way.
It goes very well today, yeah?
Yeah, it's going well, it's going well. And now for the 5th and last woman, check it out.
She's a sportswoman.
She is a famous motorcycle.
I love motorcycles. I totally love motorcycles.
She's won many championships. She's young, she's tough.
And she is demonstrating that any woman can get to be as this good as she is.
Hopefully we'll see more of them in the future.
What were those faces?
I say good for her. I have no
Good
idea.
for her.
How do you get famous for riding a motorcycle?
Tell
I
that
don't
to
remember
Batman.
the surname, but her first name.
Keep it, just keep it.
Wait, or tell me.
No, just write down, Patricia, write down something. Just
Not
as
really,
Matthew
no.
normally does.
No, I don't.
You know? 3, 2,
know.
1, here we go.
Evil Knievel. The only famous person for riding.
We're talking about women. Women. Laia,
Who cares?
Laia and Patricia, show your empty blackboard. Shame on you now. She doesn't know, which means...
I think this is a historic moment.
It is an historic moment.
I
Let's
don't
pause
remember
here.
Patricia ever missing one test like that.
And just giving up. Because sometimes, eventually, she might lose, sometimes. But giving up, that's not her style. We love you, Patricia, no matter how.
I mean, leave me alone, the both of you. Really.
Okay, maybe we should do that, no? Because it's sounding a bit like a threat or something.
Yeah, like a threat. She looks like, okay. Shella, point goes
Can you
to
give
you.
me a hint, the first letter? And
I'm going to consider that as well answer.
Yeah,
that's
S,
fine.
right? We should.
S. But you are okay. I mean, points are for you. Laia Sanz.
Okay.
Yeah.
Laia Sanz.
Yes, indeed.
We can play fair with her,
I think
right?
it's fair to give Chela a point. Now, let's see. So, if you had to be reincarnated in one of these 3 women, which one would you choose?
Doctor?
Laia, Montserrat Caballé, Kamala Harris.
Kamala is quite cool.
Harris,
Yeah,
of
right.
course.
We all love Kamala. Yeah.
Probably Kamala as well.
I want to be famous for riding a motorcycle. So.
Laia Sanz.
Laia Sanz.
So you will be Laia Sanz and both of you are going to be Kamala Harris.
Okay.
Why? Why is that?
Because she's got a very good chance now to turn things over in the States. And I think that's quite
She's
interesting.
VP. Who doesn't want to become a VP, right?
That's completely true.
Just let's check the score. Let's check who made the most of this first round. And Shella is ahead with 5 points and she's celebrating. Love it. Patricia, but be careful because she's right behind you with 4 points. And unexpectedly, Matthew, not just, he doesn't owe us any point yet, but he's still 3 points.
That's right.
So
That's right.
he's still doing quite okay, I have to say. But now let's raise the stakes with our second round, a speed challenge, also related to women.
Yes, indeed, but that will be after a very short language day because Ma Bodrick taught us the names of some specific thieves. Yes, thieves. Now, stealing is only one kind of crime, and Mark is now going to tell us the English names of other offenders.
Hey guys, welcome back. And as I told you before, we're going to move on with some more vocabulary related to some bad dudes, as Donald Trump might say. We're going to talk about crooks, okay? A crook, of course, is slightly different than that of a thief, okay? They maybe do something else against the law. We're going to start with the first one, which is an arsonist. An arsonist is a person who loves fire. And by love fire, I mean, of course, that they love burning buildings down or burning warehouses down. They like to start a fire. Then we have the swindlers, the con artists, the tricksters. And as you can tell by the names, you can get an idea or a feeling as to actually what they might do. They trick people out of money or they con them. This can happen in banking terms. When you open your bank account, you're like, oh my God, there's thousands of euros gone. Maybe you have been conned. Then we have the smugglers. The smugglers are those people who traffic or transport illegal goods, people, drugs, etc., etc., across international lines, okay, illegally. These are called smugglers. And of course, finally, we have the forgers, which have a very tough business these days as we have the internet. So forging is not something that happens a lot anymore. However, if you need a passport, if you need an ID, if you need some documents forged or copied, then a forger is your man. Okay, so I'm going to leave you in good company, not with this bunch of crooks, but with some good vocabulary to relate to them.
Time for our second round. 2 points for every right answer. The speed challenge. Shella, you know how it works.
Yes, I do.
Do you? Exactly. You use the bell to answer, an elegant instrument, although not as much as Patricia's horn and Matthew's hammer.
Of course, this round is also dedicated to women. This is speed challenge, so we'll ask you something very, very simple. We'll give you short names of women, and you will have to tell us what long name it is short for.
For example, Mars, or Marcella, or Pat, for Patricia, or
what about
Matt?
The short for Matthew? Yes.
Exactly. I wanted to play the polite way. Okay. All right, guys, let's begin.
All right, so we start with Kim.
Matthew.
Kimberly.
Kimberly, that is correct. 2 points to you, Matthew. Congratulations. Here we go. Kelly. Matthew.
Kellifer.
That's not correct. Shella. 3, 2, 1, time's up. Patricia. 3, 2, 1, time's up. Caroline.
Caroline is correct.
Yeah.
What about Buffy?
Matthew.
Barbara.
That is not correct.
No.
3, 2.
Buffy?
Buffy. None of you. Buffy. Yeah, the vampire hunter. Come on. You can
Bethany?
do it.
Bethany?
That is not correct, but it was close. Kind of close. Give it a try. 3, 2, 1.
Bellamy?
Not correct. Elizabeth.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Buffy from Elizabeth.
Maggie. Shella.
Margaret.
Margaret, that's correct. Point to
Exactly.
Shella. Congratulations.
Or it could also be Michelle.
It could also be Michelle. That's correct.
Okay.
Really?
Next one. Prue.
Patricia.
It's the thing.
Sure.
Prudence.
Prudence.
That's
very
correct.
well.
Patricia got the points. Lexi. Matthew.
Alexandria.
That is correct. Point to Matthew.
Okay.
Points to Matthew.
What
actually.
about Alexa?
Patricia.
Alexandra.
Also Alexander, exactly.
That is correct.
Excellent.
Mabel. Mabel. M-A-B-E-L.
Maribel?
Not correct, Patricia.
Elizabeth. Mary Elizabeth.
That is not correct. Well, he's...
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Maybe it is not. Amabel.
Ooh.
Point to Noah.
Okay, this one is
Amabel.
easy. Mandy.
Patricia.
Madeline.
Amanda. Amanda. Very well.
Point to
Exactly.
Shella.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, get ready. Here we go. Abby. Shella.
Eve.
No.
Abigail.
Abigail. Point to Matthew. Points to Matthew.
What about, this is an Italian one, Gia.
Georgia.
That is not correct. Patricia.
Julia.
Not correct.
Giaconador.
Georgina, but no.
I would have loved that. That's the right answer, but actually it's Giovanna.
That's what I said.
Yeah, sure. The accent. You know, it happens to me all the time.
Yeah, maybe in your sleep.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Rosie. Yeah, that was confusing.
Rose.
That's...
Rosanna.
Rose.
Patricia.
Mary.
Rosemary.
Rosemary.
Exactly.
Points to Patricia.
Or another one could be rose wither.
Or rose wither, that's correct.
Or rosalind.
Not a very
as well.
common one,
Rosalind.
exactly.
That's nice.
All right, what about Gretchen?
Greta?
Not correct.
Okay. No, it's Margaret, actually.
Margaret.
That word is longer than its
Point
original.
goes to no one. That's actually true. That's
Okay.
true. Here we go. Kate. Doctor.
Catherine.
Catherine points to Matthew.
All right, and Molly?
Patricia. Are you still with us?
Margaret as well? I don't know.
Emily?
Yeah.
No?
No.
Matthew?
You said it wasn't Margaret?
No.
Molly
Not
comes
Emily?
from?
Maybelline.
Monica?
3,
No,
2.
it's actually Mary.
Mary. Mary. And last but not least, Tonya. Patricia.
Antonia.
Antonia points to Patricia.
Excellent, right.
Well done, guys.
Well
that was
done.
Did you know about Molly, by the way?
No, not at all. About 5 of those are just real names.
Yeah. This is like Jack is short for John. This is something I don't get either.
Yeah.
So Molly and Mary
We have a
takes
few,
the
yeah,
same.
exactly.
Or
The
Bill.
shortest version.
Or Bill, right?
Exactly.
Bill.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
we have Pep, which is also an abnormally, right?
But it's shorter for a name.
It's
But
shorter
just Jack
than
and
Giuseppe.
John are same as
Yeah, John,
same
Jack,
number
it's-
of letters,
I
and
agree.
Jack is short for John.
I agree
It's-
with Sheila.
Yeah,
Sir
you're
G
right.
is short for handsome.
And an extra point to Dr. Matthew Murtha. No,
Give it
don't
to
take
him,
it, don't
really.
take it. Just-
Yeah.
We were kidding. Take it out. Out.
Anyway, Sergi, I think we've never asked. What about Shella, Sergi? We've never asked you,
That's a good
actually,
question,
Shella, if
though.
it's a short name for a longer name?
Well, that's a homemade name. My ID name is Maria Gracia. My mother is also Maria Gracia, so they wanted to call me Graciela. And my brother couldn't manage, so Shella, and then it ended up being Shella.
Kind of sounds like Shenna, the warrior princess.
Nice.
How about you guys? Do you have any nickname or a short version of your name? Matt? As
Short
for
term,
answer-
guess what?
Yeah. They used to call me Xena, but not for good reasons.
Okay, warrior princess.
Yeah.
Dr.
Okay.
Warrior princess, actually. All right, guys, the score is quite tight because we have again and back the unbeatable Patricia back on the lead with 12 points.
Well done.
But with an extremely tight race, Matthew Murtha is following her with 11 points, and our warrior princess today, Shella, is just right behind with 9 points, guys.
Okay, almost there.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's extremely tight, and this is good. But as they say, it ain't over until the fat lady sings, though I don't know if that's politically correct for today's show.
Probably not.
Probably not. Don't look at. I can notice how Patricia's looking at me right now. But anyway, let's move on to the third round. 3 points for every right answer. So how about a true or false challenge?
Okay.
How about that?
Okay,
False.
because we're going
False.
to read out some shocking facts related to women, and in 3 seconds, you'll have to decide if they are true or false.
Okay.
I'm so glad I'm an expert in women.
That's what I was going to say.
We're
So
so
you go.
glad we have you on the show.
That's the joke of the day, right?
Am I an expert in women?
No, you're the joke of the day. You should say. You, like the whole.
Okay,
of you.
right. So shall we start?
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, let's
And
start.
let's see if it's true what Matthew said. Okay, so in 16th century France, women could charge their husbands with impotence as a reason for divorce. Is that true or false?
3, 2, 1, show the answers now. True, false, and true. Which means Patricia Matthew got the points because it's true. Admittedly, it was only for the well-off. But if the husband couldn't prove in public that he was able to, well perform, then the marriage could be pronounced invalid. How do you feel about that?
Fine.
Okay, next. Female brains are smaller than male brains. Is that true or false?
Show the answers now. True, false, and false, which means Patricia got the points. It's actually true. On average, the female brain is slightly smaller, but it's also true that the neurons are more densely packed. And in the end, there is no difference in IQ between genders. So
Thank you for specifying that. I was gonna.
Yeah, it's a scientific fact. This is
You should have said smaller in size, not smaller as in
And
concept.
as we all know, size is not that important. The important is the IQ and how you use it.
As everything, it depends on what we're talking about.
Absolutely, I was absolutely talking about brains.
Okay.
Okay, next. The film Wonder Woman was the first superhero film ever to star a female lead, to be written by a woman and to be directed by a woman as well.
Show the answers. 3, 2, 1, now. True, true, and true. And it's false. It is indeed the first superhero film starring a woman and directed by a woman, but none of the screenwriters is a woman, nor was the creator of the character itself. So, point goes to no one.
Yeah, this one was a bit tricky.
Yeah, it was tricky.
Okay, number 4. In the North African Tuareg community, adult men wear veils and women do not. Is that true or false?
3, 2, 1, show the answers now. 2, true, and a true, which means you are correct. It's absolutely true. The Tuareg are matrilineal society, and women do have a lot more freedom than in other Muslim societies. So well done, and points to all of you.
But it doesn't have to do with that, actually. The fact that they're wearing veils is about the heat. Sorry.
No, please.
The heat and the sun, probably, and when they have to travel.
Because
and all
they
that,
travel, exactly, and they protect themselves with
I'm just a well-scripted person.
Okay,
just
making that clear.
I make mistakes. When I'm on script, I make mistakes, but I blame other people about them.
Okay.
Okay, right. Next one. Women first began to wear high heels in order to imitate men. Is that true or false?
And show your answers. 3, 2, 1, now. True, true, and false. Which means that Patricia and Shella got the points. It's absolutely true. Men from the nobility started wearing high heels in the 16th century as a sign of status. Then women started imitating some aspects of what the men were wearing. Yeah, that's the explanation.
Exactly.
That is correct, yes.
Correct, okay.
Yeah, Patricia agrees. Right. Okay, and the last fact. Interesting one, actually. So, it goes like that. Mary, Queen of Scots, is the first woman said to play golf in the world. True or false?
And show the answers now. False, true, and true, which means Shell and Matthew got the points. It's absolutely true. Also referred to as the mother of golf. She was seen playing golf just a few days after her husband's murder, or at least that's what her enemy said before imprisoning her. You know.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you like these facts about famous women?
Yes, very interesting.
Women famous or not famous? Which one or which ones of these facts do you find more shocking or interesting?
The high heels.
The high heels?
Yeah, I really thought they started wearing them to make the butt look good, you know?
They already had that.
That's the answer. Patricia, the answer is on you. I was going to answer, but
sorry.
I leave it to you. Just give the punch.
They already had the fiction of a very high, very wide hips and high butt with
but
the dresses.
when I wear heels, right, I do it to get the lift and
That's
the
what
buttocks.
they tell you.
Oh, man.
It looks awful on you. But you're false.
I personally think it's a torture. I mean, we shouldn't be wearing that. Like in centuries from now, I think that high heels are going to be considered like
what the hell?
The corsets now. We look at the corsets and we think like, why did women do that to themselves? I think that's going to happen with high heels too.
Yeah, it's quite happening.
Yeah.
I mean,
Interesting.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll find out, no?
Yeah.
In a few centuries.
Exactly. We'll meet in a few centuries and let's talk about that in a few centuries from now. And the final score is, guess what?
What?
Patricia won with 24 points! Matthew got the second position with an unexpectedly well done 20 well-deserved points, and Shella did amazingly as well with 18 points.
Very happy to have been.
Well, I hope you had
here.
fun playing with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, and we are glad you enjoyed it, right, Sergio?
Absolutely.
And we wish you good luck with all your TV projects.
Thank you.
And yeah, Matthew, you paid your debt today. So with your 20 points, let's consider we are even, and we forgive you for all the points you owe us for the past weeks.
Told you I'd be good for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't play with your luck.
Yeah, Matthew, Patricia, thank you so much. Until next time. And so much for today's show. We'll be back with a new program next week. And remember, Saturday at 4 p.m. Until then, you can have a go at cracking the guessword by Marius Serra and posting the solution on our social media profiles. And the clue is the most explosive quantity of liquor. That's 4 letters. Thanks for watching. Have a good week and keep up your English. Bye-bye.